Okay, I am scared of unemployment. Plain and simple, I don't want to be unemployed, but unfortunately, everywhere you look, people with computer science degrees or people that want to be software engineers, they're all unemployed. Well, actually, no, that's not true. But I will say, just like the average student or the average software engineer is probably having a really difficult time getting a job in this hiring market. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. To this point, I still don't think it's impossible to get a software engineering job. I just think you really need to be like 100% on it. Like, you need to be grinding every single day, especially if you're already behind. But then again, I think there's a lot of people who just aren't really like actually trying. I think most people think that they're trying just by going to school and maybe submitting like a job application a day, or maybe doing some LeetCode as well. Maybe they have a project on the side as well too. But I think if you want to classify yourself as like someone who's actually trying to get a software engineering job and you have like no past experience, you have nothing under your belt, I think if you want to be actually trying, you need to be pretty much coding every single day without a doubt. Maybe not every day, maybe just like most days, like at least 5 or 6 days a week. And I'm gonna be honest, for a while I wasn't doing that, and I thought that I would maybe be able to get like an internship or anything, and that would be like my form of credibility. But unfortunately I wasn't able to, and so now I'm in this position where I'm like, okay, I need to really try and lock in and get as much credibility under my belt as possible, because if I don't have an internship already, I'm about to be like a new grad, and I'm gonna have to start applying for new grad positions. And so I need to at least have like a lot of green squares on my GitHub graph and be able to know LeetCode concepts decently well if I want to pass an interview as well. And I think the main thing that's holding me back right now is literally just my projects. They were never really that good, and they're still not. Because I kind of prioritized LeetCode because I was getting a lot of online assessments, and up until that point I hadn't taken like a data structures and algorithms class, so I had to spend a lot more time than I think I really should have learning LeetCode and learning data structures and algorithms. And then I took the DSA class, and then I was like, okay, now all this stuff kind of makes a lot more sense. Anyways, yeah, I don't really have too great of projects, so I think that's probably my main priority. I do still want to somewhat focus on LeetCode, maybe like 2 or 3 problems a day, but not like the other day I did like 8 or 9 problems. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that anymore, but hey, we'll see. But yeah, with all that said, let's go ahead, get into some coding, and yeah. Alright, I just solved the LeetCode problem can partition. I was able to think of an algorithm that runs in O of n squared time, even though this is an O of n problem, and ended up using 2D dynamic programming when really it only involved 1D. But it was all I could think of, and I'm just happy that I had any form of solution come to my brain. Also, I had a minor error, which I ended up needing to ask ChatGPT for help with. Basically, I was counting the number of partitions that I was finding, whereas for this problem, you just need to know if you can find a valid partition. And so basically all I had to do, I had it running where my dynamic programming table was finding the number of partitions, and then for some reason it wasn't working, so I put into ChatGPT because it's already been like an hour. And then ChatGPT basically told me to change my table from integers to booleans, and then it worked. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with the amount of intuition that I brought to this problem. I feel like I understood it from, actually not really. I had the 2D dynamic programming solution. I do need to look over the 1D and make sure I understand it. It looked really simple, so doesn't seem too hard. I just wasn't able to think of it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, look over that, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna be trying to solve LeetCode number 377. combination sum 4. It says that I've solved it before. I honestly don't remember anything about it. I think I remember combination sum like 1 and 2. I remember one of them was like a backtracking problem. Other than that though, I don't really know what to expect. Yeah, well, hopefully it'll come back to me and hopefully I'll get something running and working. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it, see what happens. Okay, I just finished 2 more problems from the leetcode 250 list. I did combination sum 4 as well as perfect squares right now. And for perfect squares, I kind of brute forced it, but there wasn't like too much of an improvement between the optimal and the brute force in terms of time complexity. There is like a mathematical solution where you can get an O of 1 space complexity, which I was looking at, but I mean, I would hope they don't expect you to have that in an interview for this kind of question. But yeah, this is the solution I was talking about. That's O of 1. So I ended up getting I think I got this solution. So the time complexity is O of n to the square root of n. So I used recursion for this. Yeah, so not the best one, but actually I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at this dynamic programming, this other dynamic programming one, and see how I could have improved it, because I'm not too sure if mine is actually O of n to the square root of n. When I analyze the complexity on leetcode, it gives me O of n times square root of n. So I'm gonna go ahead and look into it and see what I can find out. But overall, pretty happy. I think I might do one more question, just because I'm already kind of getting into the groove of solving these questions, and I only have one more medium and hard for 1D dynamic programming. So actually, let's just go ahead and check. Okay, I just took a look at this question. It's number 343, integer break. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish all of it because I'm kind of burnt out a bit from leetcode. I've done like 3 mediums already and they were all really hard. They all took me like at least an hour. And I still want to have some time to work on my project as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna try it, and this will probably be the last question for the video. And yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, I just solved the leetcode problem 343 called integer break, and I definitely learned something new. I was trying to think of the dynamic programming solution until I took a look at the hints, and then it made me realize that there was a mathematical way to solve this problem. And apparently, if you want to break a number into parts that equal that number while also maximizing the product of these numbers that you broke it into, you want them to be as close to Euler's number as possible. So Euler's number is like 2.78, I think, and since we're dealing with integers, you would round that to 3. So in this problem, in order to find the sum of k positive integers that maximizes the product of those integers, you basically want to split n into as many 3s as possible. And then based off the remainder of n mod by 3, you have like just 2 different cases that you have to account for. But that's literally it. I definitely didn't know this. I had to first look at the discussion tab, and then they started talking about factors of 2 and 3. And then I asked ChatGPT, and then it basically broke it down for me. And yeah, so I was able to solve this problem in O of 1, but I think I should probably still try and do it dynamic programming wise, because that was the main point of me even attempting this problem. But yeah, it's still cool that I learned something new. I doubt that will ever show up on an interview, or in actual programming, but you never know. So I just have one more problem for 1D dynamic programming. I definitely want to go back through like the last 5 though, because I feel like I didn't really solve them on my own. I think for like the last 5 or 6, I had to at least get a hint from ChatGPT or even like search up the whole solution. So yeah, I definitely want to revisit those. And so tomorrow I'll probably be starting 2D dynamic programming. But that is it for today. So thank you.